Hello, how are you today? This is Bong Soo-jung, Korean labor attorney. Today, I like to explain some legal difference between Korea and the Western nations, such as British and the American. So especially they have a binding arbitration clause in the employment contract. So I'd like to talk about it, whether it is the binding same as their countries. So regarding this issue, my friend will ask me that question.
So Dr. Jung, on the help@k-labor.com email address, you've received several emails with sample contracts. And inside the contract, it states that all disputes will be settled with the Korean Arbitration Committee. And that's the equivalent of the International Chamber of Commerce Arbitration Committee. Is arbitration legally binding in Korea? In the United States, Canada, Australia, it is often used in contracts to try to mediate the situation, and so subsequently any kind of issue never goes before a court. It gets resolved in arbitration. Is arbitration legally binding in Korea for a labor contract?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. So we do not have such a binding arbitration committee or body, but like with the personal conflict or employment contract, we do not have such some arbitration some committee or body, but we in the collective dispute between company and labor union. So before they take strike, they must go through the mandatory mediation process. So in this process, employer and labor union choose to have the private the arbitration body or their the mediation, then it is acceptable.
But for individuals, so union can engage in mediation and arbitration before they strike, but for an individual employee, are they forced to, if the contract says, if they've signed the contract and it says you will accept mediation and arbitration, is that legal? Can the employer force them?
In Korea, we do not have such a binding arbitration body or some committee. So even though it is stipulated in the employment contract, it's not valid. We have some the legal dispute solving body such as labor relation committee. So any the dismissal, they must go through. They have to apply for remedy application to labor commission. There judges will make a decision. It is like a labor court. So there are no private arbitration body in regarding the personal the employment contract or personal relation. Yeah.
So the labor commission is in fact the de facto arbitration committee for labor law in the Republic of Korea, and the Korean Arbitration Board cannot supersede it. So the Labor Commission is the arbitration committee, and there's no way ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah, that's right. We have a labor commission that is an organization to make a judgment for the termination issue, unfair labor practice, all kind of some discrimination, also remedy from sexual harassment or gender discrimination.
Okay, so it fulfills the role of what? It fulfills the role exactly.
Yeah. So we have a compulsory legal system in the Labor Standards Act. So we do not have such a private or maybe outside of court system.
Fair enough. It makes it better for employees, I guess.
Okay. Thank you for this question.